Hello, everybody. This is Julie Willand, and welcome to the Zentangle Project Pack number 23. This year, we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of Zentangle, and it is so exciting. We have a year-long celebration, and all of our project packs, including this one, will be part of that celebration. This project pack is all about the birth of Zentangle. And we've talked a lot about that in the introduction video, so I encourage you all to check that out if you have not yet. But we are going to be taking an outside-the-box approach to creating an illuminated manuscript, more like a tangled manuscript. So if you do not have the project pack materials, we encourage you to follow along with whatever you have at home, but we will be using this custom template found in project pack number 23. And this project is cumulative, so we recommend doing it in order, starting with the introduction video, which will explain to you the materials used and the inspiration behind this project pack and tell you a little bit about what we will be doing, and then starting from the beginning as we continue to build off of each other. So I have the template here that Martha has started for us. These tangles look awesome. I love how they're growing throughout the piece. And so I'm going to add to this today. So let's go ahead and get started. The pens I will be using today are the 01, 05, and 12 in black, and then our graphite and white charcoal for shading, and the tortillons. So we're going to begin with a moment of gratitude, a moment to be thankful for today, for this time to tangle, for the small things and the big things. Take a deep breath. And the first tangle I'm going to start with today is Proms, and this was a tangle that we explored a lot in project pack number 22, but it's also a tangle that has been around since pretty much the beginning of the Zentangle method, and I love what we're going to do today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I am starting with the 01, and I'm going to find a spot on our tile. Remember, my string that I'm working with today is going to be different than yours. And one thing to remember as we tangle is that we're going to be working inside these big areas, the tea-stained areas, really trying to keep this circle band clear in our borders. Some of our tangles might dance over there just a little bit, but we are saving those for a later lesson, so don't get too carried away. But I'm going to start, again, working with my 01 and draw a spiral that goes around and around and around. I'm then going to add a little bit of weight to my spiral, the top of each line. And then I'm going to add another one, going around and around. And when I come to that first printemps I've put down, I'm going to pick up my pen, but I'm going to imagine as if I'm drawing behind, coming out the other side. And again, adding some weight. Taking my time. I'm going to add a few more while still working with my 01. I'm going to put one more small one right here. So I have a few of my printemps down drawn with my 01. So I'm going to put that pen down and pick up my 05. And I'm going to continue to draw my printemps, working off the ones I've already put down. Drawing behind, adding some weight. Using this thicker nib, drawing a slightly thicker line, watching my printemps become slightly bigger and bolder. And after I have put a few down with my 05 pen, I'm then going to pick up the 12 and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to begin to add some printemps, a much thicker, a much bolder line. I love this slight change in texture that this tangle gets when you do switch the pens. The difference between that 01 and the 12. If you look back at a lot of the early Zentangle tiles, and there is a blog called My First Tile where you can see some of them, a lot of the lines were very fine and dainty. And then you've seen over the years how even still just using that same Micron 01, we've learned that we can be bold, adding lots of drama. And it's fun to explore those things and see how they have evolved over the years. So I think I'm going to stop there. I have my printemps growing from the side. And now, just like Martha did, I'm going to find another place on my template here where they will travel to, and I invite you to do the same. So there, over here in this corner, I've added a few more of my printemps, again starting with that 01, 05, and then the 12. So the next tangle that I'm going to do is called Kiko. That's Keeko. And this is also a tangle that has been around since the very beginning. I'm going to work with the 05 for this. And I'm going to play off of the tangles that Martha put down the other day, this awesome one right here. So I'm going to work in this space right next to it. You can find a space next to one of your tangles. But the reason why I'm working right next to it is because Kiko acts as a great texture tangle and a great background tangle. So I'm going to put it down and then we're going to shade it to make Martha's tangle just really pop off of this paper, and kind of see how these two work together and how you can use two different tangles to really play off one another. So Kiko is really a very simple tangle. I'm going to start by drawing a slightly curved line on the paper. And then I'm going to draw a line that auras it. And another. And why don't we do one more? So I have 4 slightly curved lines all auring each other. And then right next to it, I'm going to draw a slightly curved horizontal line, not touching any of the other lines. And then I'm going to aura, aura, and aura. And I'm keeping each set of lines, so each set of lines that's auras each other is kind of its own little unit. So I'm keeping the units roughly the same size. And I'm going to repeat this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then horizontal. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so this tangle just consists of alternating these auras. None of these lines ever touch. And it's fun, you can get into kind of a rhythm of doing this. And in your head, you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like a dance. And so here, I'm going to pretend as if my lines just went underneath the other tangle. And then over here, I'll do my horizontal ones to bring it right to the end. So once you have your first row of Kikos, you're going to start a new one. And if under each set of horizontal lines, you're going to draw a set of vertical. And then under each set of vertical lines, you're going to draw a set of horizontal. This is one of very few tangles that, well, two things actually. One, none of the lines ever touch each other. And two, it only uses one of the elemental strokes of Zentangle. I hadn't tangled this tangle in a long time. And when I started doing it, I was immediately brought back to my early days of Zentangle because this was a tangle that I did a lot. I love the texture it makes. And it's funny how tangles really can just like bring us back to a moment in time, much like a song or a story will. You remember like where you were or like what your life was like when like this was your favorite tangle. So that was kind of cool experience. But I'm going to fill this space with Kiko. And I've filled that whole space with Kiko, and you can see how it just adds this great texture to the whole piece. And so I'm going to find another spot on my template to also add a little bit more of this. And again, I invite you to do the same. So I've added some Kiko up here in the corner. Got my Proms and Kiko down here. So now we are going to shade. And I'm going to start with my Proms. And we are choosing to shade this whole piece as we go along. You can wait if you want and shade the whole thing at the end. If you are shading as we go along, eventually, there's going to be a lot of graphite down on this paper. So you might want to have like a scrap piece of copy paper or printer paper. So you might want to have a scrap piece of copy paper handy to put your hand on to cover the other tangles so you don't smear all that graphite. I think right now, since we don't have that much down yet, I think I'm going to be safe. I'm going to start by picking up my graphite, and I'm going to go to my Proms, and I'm going to add some graphite around that first spiral that I put down. And then I'm going to continue to do the same for each spiral. And then I'm going to take my tortillon for my graphite, and I'm just going to go in and soften that graphite ever so lightly. Making those Proms that I put down first that are on top really pop, and pushing some down to the bottom. I'm also going to add a little bit of graphite here along my border and here as well. Just a little bit. And go back in with my tortillon. And so now I'm going to shade my Kiko. And this one's pretty simple to shade. I'm going to shade the whole space as one. So adding graphite up here, all along my border, and then all along the tangle here. To really give it the look that it's growing over my Kiko. And pushing the Kiko into the background, which is what I really wanted for this tangle. So then I'm going to pick up my tortillon. I'm going to soften it and pull it out of the edge and in towards the middle of my space. But again, remember, you don't want to fill the whole space with graphite. Because you need the contrast of the light and the dark. And this one, if you want, you can even go in with your white charcoal and add a little bit of highlight in the middle there. And then you can go ahead, and if you've added Proms or Kiko to other parts of your template, then you can go ahead and shade those as well. I'm going to take a moment to do that too. And there we have it. I've added Proms and Kiko to this beautiful template. I love the contrast between these big and bold organic growing tangles that Martha added, and then I came in and just added a lot of texture. And I can't wait to see what we do next. So thank you all so much for tangling along with me, and I will see you next time.